Okay, I'd like to thank everyone for joining and introduce myself. My name's Chris Chaka. I'm the Engineering and Product Manager here at Connectronics. Just a little bit of background information. Connectronics has been distributing for Nomadix going all the way back to 2002. Now I would like to introduce the presenters from Nomadix. We have Christophe Ameline, the Director of Product Marketing, Jeremy Cook, Product Manager, and Mike Womack, Vice President of Partner Sales for the Americas. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Christophe.
Thank you very much, Chris, and welcome everyone. So today we are going to go through a little presentation about Nomadix and some of the products that we hope can help you in your projects. Just a couple of logistical points before we start. You have the capability to ask some questions in the Q&A button. So if you click on that on your interface, you can submit questions and we'll answer those at the end. And just to remind you that this webinar is being recorded and you will have access later to it if you want to watch it again, or if some of your colleagues could not get on the call today and would like to see it again. Right, so without further ado, as per my quick introduction, this is what we're going to go through in the next sort of 30 to 40 minutes, and then some questions at the end. We'll introduce Nomadix for those of you who might not have heard of us before. We will then do an overview of our networks infrastructure portfolio, and then a quick reminder of our gateways portfolio, which is a really good complement for it. And then we'll go through a quick wrap-up where you can find more information, and we'll answer your questions. So starting with Nomadix. Nomadix was created about 25 years ago, a little bit more than that, in the US, but today it's grown into an international company. The history and the heritage of the company really comes from internet gateways, managing the onboarding of guests in visitor networks, especially in the hospitality industry. And over the last 25 years, we've really built a huge market share and a leadership position in that space. And you can see some of the numbers here in terms of our install base, what we support, and also the brands that we work with. We are really pretty much in all the big hospitality chains. And traditionally, this is very much how people know us, but that's only one part of the story, because over the last few years we've really expanded, and we are building a complete end-to-end portfolio, which we are going to start to explore today for some of it. So we are really all about powering today's connected experiences, adding a lot of complementary solutions. If you look at the top line of the icons there, it's on top of the gateways, it's now adding the connectivity, the LAN, the wireless LAN. We're also leader in Passpoint, which is a Wi-Fi Alliance standard, where we've helped to write the standard, and we're really a leader in that space. Also, we have a solution to manage multi-tenant units, so things like shared accommodation, flats, shared offices, university campus. So quite a lot of infrastructure and management solution, but also some guest-facing technologies with some casting products to stream content from your mobile device onto a television in a room. We've got voice assistants, PBX, and then at the bottom, maybe more applications for the hoteliers themselves in terms of managing their install base and managing notifications and alerts. So we've got quite a complete portfolio. We are not just a gateway company anymore. And today we wanted to introduce you to two aspects of the portfolio that we've recently expanded. So that's a good segue into the network infrastructure overview. So earlier this year, we've launched this Nomadix Networks Infrastructure product range, which comprises of LAN switches, wireless LAN controllers, and access points. Why have we done this? First of all, because we've had repeated requests from our customers and our partners over the last few years, saying that we already provide the management of the internet into the properties where we are, and they would see as a natural extension, why don't we provide also something, and to manage all the connectivity. The other thing is people have been having issues getting hold of products, you know, at the moment because of a number of supply shortages of chipsets and so on. It can be quite hard to get hold of equipment. So people who have been asking us, you know, can we do anything to help? And as you can see, we've repeated, we do have stock, and we've planned this quite well. The other thing is we've really done this as a help to the community to have an alternative offer. When you start something like this, you're not trying to overtake, you know, Cisco, Ruckus, and you know, all the big guys. We are really here to offer an alternative offering with a great price to cost ratio, a very competitive offer for people who want the fundamentals of networking at a really good price. And then for us internally, it was, like I said before, a very good complementary offer on which to build all of our applications and everything else. And before launching this, of course, we've gone through an extensive set of lab and field testing. We've tested at some pilot sites. We've also benchmarked against some competitors. And also we've designed this whole range with the hospitality sector in mind, although of course you can sell it into any vertical industry, but it's been designed alongside the GPNS standard, so it is really made for satisfying the requirements of the hospitality customers. So the next slide is a kind of a summary slide. We call it the value proposition slide. If you only have a few minutes to present to a customer, it's a good one to start from, where we summarize all the key points of this range. So we've kind of gathered the key selling points into three blocks, three pillars. The first one is around the quality and simplicity. So we've gone for high-performing products, obviously. A simple portfolio. We don't want to have too many references, something really complicated to manage with lots of very niche products. As I said, we focus on the fundamentals, the connectivity, and the performance. And we don't need to be at the bleeding edge of technology, offering the very latest, because usually these are the expensive and you know, professional services intensive type projects. Right now, we are more at providing the fundamental connectivity, and also we wanted something easy to manage. The second block is very important, of course. It's about the pricing, the competitiveness, which comes first from the actual price of the box and the licenses, where we've tried to be very aggressive. We are a new entrant to the market. We are a challenger, so we are in that position where we are beating the competition on price. But that price advantage does not come only from that. It's also in terms of energy savings. We've gone for very efficient products. For example, the PoE switches, they will turn off their LAN ports and when they are not in use. They'll try every trick in the book to save money on the energy bill. And as you know, in the day that we in the world we live in today, with the energy prices constantly rising, it's quite an important thing, and it should also provide savings from that angle. Another area where it saves money is regarding the training and the onboarding. We've gone for standard products that anyone who's worked in this industry for a little while should have no problem to adopt and to understand. So with minimal training and no complex or proprietary things to learn, it should be quite a low-cost product to learn and to resell. And we can do a number of things in terms of flexible business models. The last pillar is about the complementarity, what we call in-house the better together motto. So it is an extension of our portfolio, a natural extension. We also extended the ethos that we've had in our gateways. You know, we are very well known for having extremely reliable gateways and a good reputation overall in the IT and telecoms market. So we extend that to our portfolio of networking products and how we've approached this. Also, we offer a single source supplier between all the Nomadix products, so they are tested to work with each other. There's no finger pointing if something doesn't doesn't operate. And we've optimized it for the hospitality market, but of course it can be used anywhere else as well. So our tagline is kind of the no-nonsense, end-to-end, wired and wireless internet access that just works. This next slide is also a good summary one. If you want to quickly show the products to a potential customer. So you have the summary of the range here. So we've got 3 access points today and 1 controller. And then we've got 3 switches and a few accessories. So we'll go through those in detail. I guess I don't need to spend too much time on that slide. But if, again, you're in a situation where you need to present to a customer and you only have a few minutes and you want to show what we have to offer, this is a good slide to use. And here it is again, but in a slightly different look and feel. This is where you would position this, I guess, from a topologic point of view. So we've got these 3 access points. One is a wall plate that you would install, typically 1 per room, mostly in hotels, but it could be also in offices. This access point, so all the access points are Wi-Fi 6. This one also offers 4 LAN ports, so you can plug some IoT and various devices that are in the room directly into the LAN port. And this allows to bring only 1 cable to the room, and then you branch it from the access point. We've also got a high density access point. So this is for all the high capacity areas, the conference rooms, lobbies, restaurants, and anything like that. And we've got an outdoor access point as well. In terms of LAN switches, we have 2 categories. First, we have access switches, and within that, we have 2 sizes. We have a 24 port and a 48 port. And these are switches that both provide power over Ethernet to power not only the access point that you see here, but also whatever else you would like to power on the network. And then to interconnect all of this, we have an aggregation switch with a mix of copper and fiber connectivity to link all of this. And then you can see the controller. The controller is required to manage the wireless LAN access point. And then we've got our gateways that provide the connectivity to the internet and manage the onboarding of users, the bandwidth, and so on. In terms of maximum capacity, if you just use individual products, the largest gateway we have on its own can service up to a 10 gig bandwidth and 6,000 simultaneous devices. And from the wireless LAN controller point of view, one can support a maximum of 448 access points and up to 8 gig bandwidth. But that's using them on their own. After that, you can also bundle them together and stack them. Although we don't use stacking, we use a different methodology called VSU. It's got lots of advantages. But the idea is you can then group them. And in that case, you increase the capacity and you benefit from high availability, load balancing, and all these kind of good things. And in that case, you can go up to 2,448 access points in a network. And you can get, you can manage up to 32 gateways, and in that case you get up to 320 gig bandwidth and up to 160,000 devices. So that should be good enough, I think, for quite a few properties and opportunities out there. So now what we can do is go a bit deeper into the detail of each individual product, give you a few more specs, and we'll start with the wireless LAN components. So as I said, they are all Wi-Fi 6, but they are also retro compatible with the previous standards. As I explained, we have 1 controller and 3 different models of access points. We've benchmarked them. They've got loads of security and management feature. They should be quite quick to onboard. It's all standards based. And they are very well complemented by a gateway for the onboarding and management of the guests and the bandwidth. So the first access point, this is this access point, which is wall mount. In fact, I've got one here. Oops, if you can see it. It's quite small, really little form factor. It plugs directly into structured cabling outlets in rooms. Depending on what standard you use, you might need, we have a little adapter to adapt to various sockets. But this one, so it provides 1.7 gig maximum throughput. It's got one PoE uplink of 1 gig, and then it's got 4 LAN ports to connect various devices from the room. And it also has Bluetooth 5 and iBeacon support. All the access points, they are managed by the controller, but you can also have a default mode where they, if they lose connectivity with the controller, they continue working, of course, for high availability. And you can manage traffic, and you can manage things kind of how you want. There's many options for that. I don't need to go through every single point here, but again, the idea is to give you the slides. If you do need to present this, you will have all of this information yourself. So yeah, it's quite a small form factor to adapt to the model that many people are taking today to have the best coverage possible. You just flood the place with one access point per room. These are lower radiating access points in terms of the radio waves, so that they don't create too much interference with each other, and they give you the best coverage within the room. Because as you know, today people have got more and more devices, they're streaming and they're using more and more bandwidth. So the more you share an individual access point, the more you're creating potential bad experience for the user. So these at 1 per room is the model that many people are going for today. The second access point that we've got is the wall mount or ceiling mount high density access point. This one is really a powerful one. It's tri-radio dual band access point. I've got it here as well, if you can see it. So this one, it can go up to 6.8 gig throughput. It's also got a few LAN ports, and it also supports Bluetooth and iBeacons. So this one really you would use for the larger areas with a lot of people. It's extremely capable. It's at the top of the range, really, of what access points can do on the market, but it's priced quite below that. So it's a great performance per cost ratio. So this one here, again, you've got all of the specs here. All of these are powered by PoE. But if you do prefer, you can also have a local power adapter if you don't have PoE in the network. But they can all be powered by a power over Ethernet. So that's for that access point. The last one is the outdoor one. So this one can be either wall mounted or pole mounted. It can resist to extreme weather conditions, heat as well, cold, whatever you throw at it. It's been tested to withstand all of that. So this one supports 2.4 gig of throughput, and it's got a choice of a PoE uplink, or you can also connect fiber to it. But in that case, you have to provide local power, and I've got it there. It looks like this. So there we go. It's been rated with the IP68 standard, and it also has Bluetooth 5 and iBeacon support. And you have all of the specs here that you would expect. We've also included the mean time between failure. You will see that all the equipment has got pretty high MTBF. This is really robust stuff, which is meant to last forever, really, and withstand pretty much whatever you throw at it. So the controller now, as I said, we really recommend to have it with every installation, because otherwise you're starting to lose some of the functionality, some of the management, the traffic management. But it provides some dashboards. It provides the configuration and maintenance of all the access points in the network. You can route all the traffic through it, or you can bypass it. As I said before, if the access points were to lose connectivity to it, they can operate on a standalone mode until they recover, so you don't break the network if suddenly something was to happen. You can, like I also explained earlier, combine several of these controllers to create bigger installations to support more access points, and also to provide load balancing and high availability. So that's a good option. In terms of capacity, so they support a maximum of 448 wall plate access points, so the little ones like that, or a maximum of 224 of the other two. So the easy thing to remember is that the little access point, because it consumes less resources, they count as half. So after that, you can mix and match, of course, but yeah, these ones they draw less resources, so you can plug more than the bigger one. It can support up to 6,400 simultaneously connected devices and up to 8 gig bandwidth per device. And you can bundle up to 8 together. It's then called a VAC, a virtual controller, a virtual access controller. So then in that case, you can manage up to 2,048 access points. You've got the specs there as well. Interesting to note as well, it's not a very deep box, so it can even fit in very shallow cabinets. And sometimes on sites when you don't have a lot of space, that can be an advantage as well. It can be fitted into small 19-inch racks. So that's for that. It's a one new height. So maybe we can look a bit more at the LAN switches now. So as I said, we've got 3 in the range, 2 access switches and 1 aggregation switch. Again, they are built with a very good choice of components. They are built to last, long MTBF. They've got lots of security features. They're all standards based. The one thing to note is at the moment, these are managed by CLI only. We will be coming out later with a cloud controller for those. But today, at this stage, these are CLI managed switches, but again, using very common commands that people are using in the industry. So anyone who knows how to manage other switches should be comfortable with those. So we'll start with the first one, which is a 24 port PoE switch. So this one, yeah, in a non-blocking wire speed switch. It delivers PoE, PoE Plus, and HPoE. So the 3 standards of PoE, which go up to 60 watt. So you can power some demanding devices with this one. It's got 4 10 gig uplinks, SFP plus uplinks, and you can stack up to 4 of them into what we call a VSU, a virtual switching unit. So it's not quite like a traditional stacking, but it allows you to prevent some of the issues that you have with normal stacking. So it's a very clever way of doing things. It has a fixed power supply, this one. It's a short depth cabinet as well. So again, it will fit into shallow cabinets. It's also been made to generate the least amount of noise possible. So you could locate it into, well, not too far from working people or in an hotel, maybe in a corridor without creating too much noise pollution. You've got more of the figures here. So from a PoE point of view, maybe that's the one I would highlight. So you can have either all 24 ports delivering the standard PoE, or you can have 12 ports delivering PoE Plus, or you can have 4 ports delivering HPoE at 60 watt. So you've got all of these. That you can play with, and then yeah, for the rest, it's fairly straightforward. Moving to the 48 port switch. So again, similar, it's a non-blocking switch. This one has got 48 PoE plus. So this one only provides PoE and PoE plus, not HPoE. And for the full power capacity, you need the 2 power supply. This one has got redundant PSUs, and if you want to deliver the full PoE plus capacity, you need the two PSUs. But it's a good practice anyway to have 2 PSUs in case you want to have high availability in the switch. Again, it can be stacked up to 4 in a VSU, a virtual switching unit. This one, in terms of uplinks, it has two 1 gig SFP uplinks. Oh, sorry, I can't speak. Uplinks, which are combo ports with the last two LAN ports, 47 and 48, and it also has two 10 gig SFP plus uplinks. In terms of specs, so you have here some of the dimensions and more detail, and you've got also the PoE budget detailed there. Note that you've got different figures depending whether you are supplying 110 volts or 220 volts. So that's all explained, but just look at that if you need to power a lot of devices. We need to pay attention to the full PoE budget depending on what you're feeding into the switch in terms of power. And you will note from the pictures that the PSU sticks a little bit at the back. It's done on purpose, obviously. It increases the cooling. It also increases the savings in terms of material and weight and all the rest. But it's not longer than a normal switch. It's just that the chassis itself is a bit shorter, but the PSU is a normal kind of length. But that's the kind of design which was optimized to look that way. Anyway, once it's rack mounted, you don't see that. So that's for that. The aggregation switch now. So this one has got some faster connectivity. 20 port of 10 gig SFP plus, 4 ports of 25 gig SFP 28, and 2 ports of 40 gig QSFP plus ports. So that's all the connectivity that it provides. This one you can stack up to 2 in what we call the VSU. And it also has redundant power supplies. And it's also a switch which is not too deep and can be mounted in shallow cabinets. You've got the rest of the specifications there in case you need them. We also have data sheets with all of these and full documentation. I guess it's useful if you do a quick presentation to a customer and they want to have an answer to one question, you can always find it there. So that's for the switches and the wireless LAN portfolio. Now we can go over the Internet Gateway reminder for those of you who don't know these products. So same principle as for the networks range. We've got a summary slide, which we call the value proposition. And if you don't have much time, this is the one you can start from. And we gathered here all the key points of this product range. So the first block of benefits that we've put there is the quality of the guest experience. And these gateways, they are really known and you know they've been very popular for the last 25 years for the flexibility and the quality of creating profiles, managing bandwidth, and really coping with everything you can throw at them in terms of complex deployment, VPN, all sorts of stuff. So they are really great if you need to adapt to any use case, to anything that a customer wants to do. You've got it there. Because in 25 years, I think we've pretty much seen most of the use cases out there, and we work with all the large brands. Anything that they wanted to do, that they requested as feature, we've kind of developed over the years. So these are really, really feature rich, a lot of patents, a lot of good ideas in these boxes to manage the onboarding of guests and the management of their bandwidth and so on. The second pillar of our value proposition is the robustness, the resilience of these gateways. I mean, they just keep on going. They're extremely resilient. We've got one of the lowest rate of RMAs in the industry. We're very proud of that. They're also very secure. They are compliant in terms of the different standards that people use, but also in terms of accepting terms and conditions before you give access to the internet to guests and all that. And they're future-proof. For example, we've added passpoint to these gateways. You can add modules, licenses, you can grow them. So they can really last a very long time. And the third pillar is around the trust from the brand, which was created, as I explained in the introduction, over 25 years ago by some of the people who created or helped create the internet, the pioneers in the late 90s. We've got a demonstrable success. You've seen some of the figures. And one aspect also which is important is the quality of the support. It's all in-house support, people who've been in the company for a very long time, who know the product in and out. We've got a lot of documentation, how-tos and everything. So we've got really a good support there. So it creates a modular family to manage the bandwidth and the users onboarding in properties of any size. You'll see we've got a few different models. And the beauty of it is we've got the same feature range across the board. So really versatile, different boxes. We can now go into a little bit more detail on each of these three pillars. So starting with the quality guest experience. So this one, it was starting with how personalized you can make an experience for a guest. You can create loads of different profiles depending on VIPs and standard, depending on if you want to charge and you want to give a better service to people who are paying versus people who are getting things for free. If you have a conference and you want to give preference, wedding or anything. And then within that, you've got a very, very granular bandwidth management. And not only that, but in times when nobody is fighting for the bandwidth, you can give some more to the people so that you don't waste it. It's not fixed, it's dynamic. And then when there is a challenge for the bandwidth, you can fall back onto the thresholds that you've defined in the solution. And you can, of course, have captive portal, branding options with the properties sort of logo and so on. The second point here is about the frictionless access, and what that means is really it works. It just works, regardless of what you throw at it. Again, over the last 25 years, we've seen a lot of use cases, a lot of people coming with laptops configured and locked by the IT departments of their companies with complex stuff, VPNs, fixed IP addresses, all sorts of stuff. And these gateways, they are meant to really cope with anything you throw at them without needing an expert on site. So you configure them, you set them up, and then they run in the background. And normally you don't trouble anyone at reception because you can't get on, because they will cope with any situation. So that's why we say reduce calls to the front desk as well in that sense. And they're very flexible. Any model, any billing that people want to do, charging to the room, charging in different ways, giving for free, how people want to authenticate. We have huge selection of authentication methods, huge bandwidth management options. So very powerful boxes. The second pillar was about the robust internet gateway product. So we can explain a little bit more why we call that robust. First, the operating system, we use VxWorks, which is the operating system they use in nuclear submarines and shuttles that they send into space. So it's a pretty optimized, pretty solid operating system. It's a purpose-built box as well. We don't try to do 5,000 things with it. It's been designed for a purpose and it's been tested. In fact, even above the capacity that we commit. So we know the product will deliver on what we write on the spec sheets, and it's got some of the lowest failures on rates on the industry. It's very secure. It's protected in many ways versus cyber attacks. It's got user access control, strong authentication methods, and because it's not just a question of features, we've also got a number of best practices, documentation to recommend what to implement to deploy these in the safest way. And yeah, they are compliant and future-proof. You can expand the number of devices that they support up to their maximum capacity, the bandwidth they manage. We can add passpoints. We've got several options of high availability, PMS integration, really a whole lot of things that you can add to them. And of course, we are compliant with legal requirements of accepting terms and conditions from guests and the various requirements from hotels with the big brands. The last slide on the gateway was about giving you a bit more information about the trust and the recognition. I've already shown some of these numbers. We've got a huge install base of them. They were created by people who really thought this very well and put a lot of ideas, patents into these boxes. We've had a demonstrable success with all the brands, and we've got a worldwide distribution of these solutions. They are very popular, and the quality of our support, which I already mentioned. So you've got a lot of trust. Just to finish on the portfolio, so we've got 4 models in the range. So the smallest one, which is the EG1000, this one, which we launched last year, but yet it's got the same feature set as all the others. So it will start from supporting 100 simultaneously connected devices, and you can expand it to 1,000. And it starts at 100 megabit per second bandwidth, and you can go up to a gig. And as you can see, they all kind of go up in specs. I guess I don't need to read through every single one of them. And if one box is not enough, you can then use the high availability clustering option to create clusters of these gateways and to grow in capacity whilst having load balancing and high availability between them. So quite a good family that we are very successful with. So that's kind of the overview that we wanted to give you today. So I hope you found it interesting. We're gonna wrap up, but before we do that, I'll just show you where you can find some more information. And I guess there's 3 main areas. If you're more after a quick introduction, some data sheets, and some more marketing style information, you're welcome to go on our public website and to access all of this. In terms of technical documentation, presentation, some training, software updates, this is more on our partner portal, but we've got a site where you can download all of these once you've got an account. And for anything regarding account management, sales, pricing, ordering, this is where we will turn you to our lovely friends here from Connectronics that you already know, and they can assist there with all of these questions. So that's what I wanted to cover. So I hope I've shown you that we're not just a gateway company today, that we've got more to offer. We started right now with the infrastructure portfolio, but we've got more in, more solutions, some guest facing, some other things. So I hope that you've got some projects that you feel would be quite a good fit for these products, and we can carry on discussing. So without further ado, Chris, I'll turn it back to you to maybe say a few words, and then maybe we can look at some questions.
Yes, thank you to everyone on the Nomadix team there. I believe we do have some questions.
Yes. Yeah, so Chris, there was a few questions that came through. The first question was, do you have stock and where will it be shipped from? And I can take that question. Yes, we do have stock. Connectronics has ample stock to support all your requirements right here in the US. So whenever you're ready to request that and order that, it's available to you. The second question is, will there be not for resale testing lab kits available from Nomadix? Once again, the answer is yes. Connectronics can help and support you in ordering those particular NFR kits, and just reach out to them and they'll get you what you need. The next question is, are Nomadix WLAN and LAN products mandatory in the same networks? So I'll point that to Jeremy, if you can answer that question.
Yeah, so the WLAN and LAN products are independently manageable and purchasable. So we would like to be part of your whole network. We would like everything end to end from the access point to the gateway that connects to the internet for your guest network. But the switches and the wireless connect set up, the wireless access points and controller can be individually purchased and installed. So if you already have a switch fabric and you're just looking for the wireless, you can get the controller and access points. Our wireless controller does only support the Nomadix access points. So if you are purchasing the access points and the controller, you do need to purchase those together, but the switches and the wireless can be purchased separately.
Thanks, Jeremy. We have a couple more questions that have come in. Can Nomadix be sold to non-hospitality customers? I'll start with this, and Christophe, if you want to add. So the answer is yes. With our expanded and complete portfolio, Nomadix network solutions can be offered to multiple vertical segments, including segments like multi-tenant, which is a very expanding number of use cases, whether it be apartments, whether it be venues, whether it be managed or shared office spaces. We've run into some use cases with RV parks and a number of things. Could be large enterprise campuses. It could be university campuses. So a number of use cases that with our expanded portfolio that we can meet the needs of your customers. So Christophe, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I think you've answered it very well. Thank you. We obviously started with hospitality as a requirement because that is our heritage from the gateway, and we wanted something that would be fit for purpose for the hoteliers. But actually, they have quite stringent requirements. So being compliant with those means that really we are a very good product for pretty much anything else, especially any visitor-based network. You've mentioned, multi-dwelling units, multi-tenant units, shared offices, but any public space. I mean, we do things with smart cities. We do things. I mean, really, these products can be used anywhere, or even just a standard office if you just need basic connectivity.
Thank you. So we have two more questions that have come in. The next question is there a roadmap to expand Nomadix Networks range in the future? So Christophe or Jeremy, can you take that one?
Yeah, maybe I'll kick off, and then Jeremy, you can complement. So as I explained in the beginning, we wanted to keep a fairly reduced portfolio. We're not trying to be a Cisco tomorrow with thousands of, or at least hundreds of different references. Yet we are also open to answering demand. If there's a particular need for a few additional products, we're very happy to look at that and to include. We believe with what we've selected, we can already answer most common requirements from people, and then we're looking at where that could be a good fit for some additional solutions. And certainly one of them is we would like to offer, I think I mentioned it earlier, a cloud controller as well, on top of everything, to have a single pane of glass to manage everything. So that's one thing that we are working on. I don't know then, Jeremy, if you want to add a few things.
Yeah, we're also working on a couple additions to the actual access points that we're supporting. One is, as Christophe was saying, the ceiling mount access point is a tri-radio, high density, very, very high powered access point for things like conference spaces, your lobbies, your stadiums, your large spaces. But there is sometimes a need for something a little smaller for, hallway fill-in, smaller things. So we are working on having a more lower powered 2-radio access point that'll be a ceiling mount. It'll be the same form factor, but it won't be as high powered and for that density type of functionality in that, and that should be available around September. We're also looking at advancing our wall plate access point so that it supports a PoE out port. Right now, the 4 ports are just 4 standard ports. We're looking to add one of those ports to be a PoE out so that you can plug in things like a VoIP phone or something and get it powered straight from that wall port, so you don't have to pull extra wires to each room to be able to support those kind of things. So those are what we're looking at in hardwares and expanding our portfolio. And those are what we're looking at, and we're hoping to have most of all those things done by the end of this year.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Christophe. One last question, and then I'll turn it over to Chris. Jeremy, how many access points does the WLAN controller support today? I think there was mention of that, but I don't know if it was.
So Christophe went over it. The controller supports 448 of the wall plates, but it mixes and matches, so it's 224 regular access points. You mix and match, as Christophe explained. It's a single access point, or for each wall plate, it's half an access point in those counts. Those can be mixed and matched, and the way on the sales side, we don't require you to purchase an extra license for the controller. When you purchase your controller and your access points at the same time for your site, we will then send you the license key to support all of the access points that you have requested for that site. So we have ways to work that in and get that sales to you without having to cause additional problems and additional functionality that you're calling back to us and saying, well, why can't I get the access points to work with this controller? We're working on making sure that that's as smooth as possible for you.
Thank you for that. That's the end of the questions that we had from the webinar today. Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. We would like to thank everyone for attending today. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded and will be available for future viewing. We'd like to reiterate that stock is available of both the Nomadix Networks products as well as the gateways. And if you have any questions or would like to place an order, please reach out to our team at Connectronics. Have a great day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.